Hey guys, welcome back to Grand Tactician. In today's episode, we might get some battles, we might not, because I'm gonna teach you guys how to make the Confederacy proper if you do not want to do the import thing. I do not suggest the import thing. Yes, it's easier, you can outfit your men faster, I get that, but your credit rating takes a crap basically on you by 1863, okay? So I'm gonna show you in this video how you maintain credit rating even across a 100,000 man army. Without further ado, I'm going to show you how exactly I've been doing this. Very few players that play Grand Tactician know about this information according to the research I've done. So I'm going to show you guys how exactly you do this. I'm going to give you the inside look on how exactly you maintain a BBB credit rating with 100,000 men. Now I will say we do have 4 armies in Rebel territory, but considering we are not doing too bad for 1862. National morale is 89. We have a BB plus at this point in time, and we have 118,000 men in the Confederate Army. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of secret on how I'm doing this. Let's go to one of my armies. You know what? I don't want to do the Army of Tennessee because he's going back to Tennessee. So, actually, let's just go to the Western Army because that's where all the action is happening right now. So, let's go see what's going on with him. Okay, so you can see I retook Nashville, Tennessee, okay? And that was kind of out of luck because the Union was being stupid in the dead of winter and left Nashville. I'm hoping that this actually forces them to leave that little bit of Alabama territory that I gave up to gain Nashville back. However, let's go back to the secret stuff. I'm going to show you the projects first, because that's primarily what I'm doing here. First of all, for the Confederacy, I have the Industry Policy 3, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm going inside the civilian projects, okay? And you have the infrastructure reform. This is important, yes, but not as important as the one I'm going to show you. This one right here is what you guys want to do. Industrialization reforms, subsidized industry, my apologies. You want to essentially spam this project. What this does is it allows the private investors or the private sector to build your industry for you, okay? I only have a 10% modifier, so it's not off the wall yet. But essentially, it will build your foundries and everything you need for industry for you without the cost of the government. Now, what I will say is this. What you want to do is 1861. Early game, day 1 of the game, when you have the early start date, is you want to put 2 foundries and 2 ironworks in Alabama and Macon, Georgia, and Columbia, South Carolina. Those are the only 4 buildings that I have built on the back of the government. Okay, but you want to do that to get the industry pumping. Okay, so you have a little bit of a buffer to build off of. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to get, I'll take you to the policy screen so you can see this. As you can see, I am just 212 in debt right now. That is not terrible at all. That is pretty awesome. So as you can see, the total expenses that I have, okay, is $466 million. Now, I know that sounds bad, but that's really not bad because I'm pulling in half of that every time in revenues, okay? And then it ends up being, at the end, a negative 12 million in subsidies, okay? So we are actually doing very, very well. So you can see that we're doing very, very well. I'm putting 50 million into industry. That's part of the reason I'm doing this so well. Okay, it's because of the industry. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I have done it. Go to the policy tree. I have industry 1, I have industry 2, and then the 50 million crossover is industry 3. Okay, once you get to chapter 3, you can do industry 4 if you have Confederate industry or Southern industry perk as a starting perk when you start the campaign. Okay? Which I do plan on getting eventually. Just so we can get the private sector really going. I think I do have some private sector buildings being built right now, so I can give you an example of this. Just give me 1 minute. But no, we don't want the Telegram company notifications here. You need to get industry level 3 to be able to do this kind of economic power based on industry. Okay? And make yourself self-sufficient. Yeah. So essentially, you need to get industry 3. That will push you up to 50 million a year into industry for the Confederacy. Now, I'll give you a physical example here of what that has done for me, because it's mostly happened in Virginia. Mostly. So I'm going to zoom out here and I'm going to go to Virginia so you can see this. I don't know if I have any private sector stuff being built right now. I might not. Might have already completed. I think I do though. Anyways, oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for. You see this building here, guys? We all know about the circle filling up and then it's completely done being built and whatnot. But this is not a building that's being built, guys. You can see that let me zoom in a little further if I can. No, I'm at the max. So this is going to be easy to see. It's pretty self-evident here. But all of this is the private sector, guys. I did not pay for any of this. Okay? I'm going to go back to Alabama in South Carolina and Georgia, and I'll show you the buildings that I paid for. Okay, we'll start with South Carolina. Let me see if I can't find it here. I believe I put all that in Columbia. This is what I paid for in Columbia, okay? Except for this one, because this one was here by default. But this building is the one that I put down, okay? Now, if we zoom out and we go to Georgia, let me show you what I did there. If we go to Macon, okay, you'll notice that when I manually placed those, I actually put them close to a railroad. That's important because the raw materials get shipped through the railroad system. That's why infrastructure reform is important. Okay, so I think, let's go to Alabama here. The unit has some of my Alabama territory, but not much at all. My industry is still safe because it's deeper into Alabama. Where's Selma? Let me zoom out because I put it on Selma. Okay. So, Selma. So if we zoom in on Selma, you'll see that I have an ironworks. I put this down originally. And I did not put that down. That's an AI thing right there. But as you can see, I put very minimal infrastructure in the beginning of the game from day one, okay? Most of this industry is being built by the AI. Now, I know what you're thinking is like, your industry has to suck. Really, let me give you a physical example about what we're doing here, okay? Because you are completely freaking wrong. If I go to our weapons category here, okay? Now, granted, this 25,000 rifle order is complete almost. We got about maybe just over 2 weeks for it, okay? 16.3 days. So now, because I forgot, but I unlocked the Sharps rifle to be produced. Now, it's not going to be as fast as Springfield because of one factor. The factor that you guys are missing is this. Standardization. What this does is, what it is at the beginning of the game, when you go into a brand new weapon type, okay, you don't want to order 50,000 rifles right off the bat. Now, I know it's tempting. I get it. You don't want to wait. I understand that. Okay? But what you want to actually do, and I'll explain this with the Sharps rifle because I'm going to make a small order of Sharps rifles too, which is going to make the Sharps rifle be produced slower because the factories are also working on that 25,000 order of Springfields. Okay? So they are going to be slower than what they would have been if I didn't have this order going. But I'll show you exactly how you prime the pump, so to speak. So let's go to the Sharps rifle here in a minute, because I did unlock them. I just, I don't see them here. Maybe I didn't. I thought I did that last night. Let me see if I did. Yeah, because there's no money saved up here. Yeah, Sharps rifles. So let me find it in the production queue, and I'll be right with you as soon as I do. Okay, Sharps rifle. So 1,000 of these is going to take 81 days. Now, you might be thinking, oh my god, that's terrible. Yes, it's terrible. But keep in mind, we also have the Springfield rifle order going through as well, which is using part of my IP for small arms. If you don't know what IP is, that's industrial power or industrial points, whichever. Okay? But actually what you want to do, and I'm actually not going to order these because of the 81 wait time. Okay? But what you guys want to do is you want to order small groups of these. Start with 1,000. Do this 3 times over. Eventually, what's going to happen is you'll notice, and I'll go back to the Springfield rifles so you can see what I'm saying. You'll notice that the standardization is 0. This is your production problem. Okay? This is why Confederate industry seems to suck, when in actuality it is user error. Okay, I don't claim to know everything, and I used to make the same mistakes. Okay, I understand that, so I'm not bashing anybody or any of the 85% of YouTubers that do the import thing. Okay, because I used to do the same thing. Okay, but here's your problem. That standardization right now is 0. So what you need to do is tell your factories, that you need this weapon produced. And what happens is the game simulates, yes, this is a strategy game, okay? But what happens is the game simulates the people in the factories learning how to create the new technology weapon. Okay? And so because nobody knows how to make it, you don't want to do mass quantities right off the bat, okay? You want to start small, let the people in the factories learn how to do this. Then you go to greater quantities. Once you order about 3 1,000 piece orders of said weapon, your standardization should be about 3. Okay, because for small arms, it is 1 standardization point per 1,000. Okay, so once you get ordered this 3 times, which is 3,000 rifles, you want to bump it up to 2,000, and then you want to order that 3 times, and etc., etc. Then you bump it up to 3,000, order that 3 times, etc., etc., etc. Then you bump it up to 5,000, order that 3 times, etc. Then you bump it up to 10,000, order that 3 times. Then you bump it up to 25,000, order that 2 times, etc. Okay, what's happening is you guys are overtaxing the industry that you do have, okay? That's why most y'all want to go with the imports because it's so much faster. No, you're just doing it wrong, okay? I know you guys want to be aggressive with the union and stuff. I get it. You want to see the good parts. You want to see the killing. I get all that, but you can't do that with the Confederacy. If you want to maintain a good economy with the Confederacy, you cannot do that. You have to bleed the Union on your brick wall, so to speak, okay? Then once you get the technology needed to take the offensive to the Union, that's when you do that. You don't mass recruit and then expect your credit rating to be a BB plus, like you're seeing on my screen. And let me reiterate, you can see how many men I have in the Army. Most of y'all hit 50,000 and you can't afford nothing. It's because you're overtaxing everything. You're not using the modifiers that I'm using, therefore you're not making any profit off of your industry. You gotta rely on the private sector as the Confederacy because it costs you nothing to build. Yes, sometimes they take your subsidies money and sometimes you're trying to get the next level of industry subsidies to the 15% or 20% or whatever, and they take that money and they spend it. But in actuality, guys, they're upgrading your industry for you, okay? So as long as you play a defensive war as the Confederacy, you will learn how to produce these high-end weapons, okay? Now let me show you how to do artillery, because it's a little bit different here. I will go to the 20-pounder Paris so you have a greater example. Actually, I'll start with the James Rifle, because that's a little higher for me. You'll see for the James Rifle, I have a standardization of 4, okay? And I will be done with this 8-piece order in about a month, okay? I've been waiting for about 2 months to get this done. Actually 3 months because it was 70 something days. But just like the rifle, the standardization goes up. And what you have to do is you have to order 8 pieces multiple times over so that the people in the factories know how to make a rifle barrel. Making a smooth bore barrel is different than making a rifle barrel. Rifle cannons are harder to make. Therefore, you have to do the 8-piece order for a longer period of time. I also have 20-pounder parrots going, and what I'm there doing right now is I have a standardization for those for about 1. Now you're looking at that and you're going, man, that's terrible. Guys, what you have to do with that is you'll notice that I have a standardization of 4 on the James rifle. So what you do is you get that standardization for the James rifle to the point where you can mass produce it. And then as you're doing that, you make some parrot rifles. In the background, getting that standardization to a reasonable point, and then eventually, as you gather the 20-pound parrots in your armory inventory, okay, that standardization will go back up because it goes up with every order that you do, okay? Every order that goes through and completes, that standardization for that particular weapon goes up. Therefore, the next order that you do will be cheaper and faster. It actually decreases the price that you pay for that particular weapon. Now let me go back to the Springfield, because that is the most standardized weapon that I actually have, so you can see what I'm talking about. So we go back to the Springfield rifle and look at the standardization. It specifically says 45. Now I showed you this earlier in the video, I understand that. But the reason why I'm going back to it is so that you can see the difference versus 0 and 4 and 1, okay? Again, I'll reiterate, you guys are overtaxing too much too fast. And for 25,000 rifles is 8.6 million, okay? That is maybe $200 per rifle. That is very cheap. That, my friends, is industry explained, and how you maintain independence as the Confederacy without getting your credit rating to tank, okay? Do not import. It's a recipe for disaster. If you have the patience to do what I'm telling you to do, do not import, okay? It's the worst thing you can actually do. Without further ado, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully this video helps and you guys can make a industry powerhouse just like me with your own games. I know I was going to play the game originally, but I kind of explained this way too in depth to get into some gameplay. But hopefully it helps you guys, and you guys can stay away from the import thing and making you guys crash the economic system that the Confederacy has. Now there's one other thing I would like to show you guys just real quick. So if we go to the economic policies, you can see that I have the Revenue Act, okay? And you're just, well, why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. It makes people mad, etc., etc., okay? What you guys are doing is you are enacting the Revenue Act because on a point in which your economic system is terrible, okay? Therefore the public thinks that you're squeezing them for every cent that they have. However, when you build an industry powerhouse, yes, it still makes them a little bit frustrated, but they can afford to do that, okay? They can afford to that. So in my mind, the citizens are like, well, we have to do this because the boys in the field actually need it. You know, it's our way of helping them out. So yes, the factories are paying the income tax. However, because I have made the Confederacy industry very, very powerful on the back of the private sector. Okay, the Confederacy is very wealthy at this point, so they don't mind paying a slight tax on their income because they still have plenty left over. It's only a 3% tax. So before you enact this particular policy, okay, make sure you have money flowing in. And you'll notice that you're probably laughing and saying, well, you have 5 blockades, 6 blockades. Guess what, guys? It doesn't mean crap for me. Because my economic system is built off of industry. So they can blockade all of that all the live long day. And that's the Confederacy explained in detail on how you make them overpowered. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys later. God bless.